Plug your sensitive ears, we've got some controversy coming your way. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for another top 10 banned movies.
1% of Americans. Talking about whales here.
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at 10 more films that were famously refused screening in one or multiple countries for various political, social, or ethical reasons. If you didn't see a film you thought should be here, make sure to check out our first list on this subject. Number 10, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Eric, did you just say the F word?
Jew?
We start off our list with a bit of Hollywood irony. Released during its first few years of insane popularity, the South Park movie was meant to be a satire of censorship and sensitivity, as the parents of South Park decide to go to war with Canada for releasing a foul-mouthed and raunchy cartoon movie.
Just remember what the MPAA says. Horrific, deplorable violence is okay, as long as people don't say any naughty words.
With the humor lost to many, the film was subject to tons of controversy and banned in most of Asia and the Middle East, especially due to the depiction of the then still alive Saddam Hussein as Satan's gay lover.
Is sex the only thing that matters to you?
I love you.
Number 9, The Last House on the Left.
You guys let us the hell out of here. I'm gonna start screaming.
From hilarity to utter horror, the controversy surrounding this film was no surprise. Horror films, especially in the 70s, were geared towards shocking audiences, and Wes Craven's debut feature is no different. A brutal and graphic story of rape and revenge, The Last House on the Left was often released heavily edited or banned outright, especially in the UK, where it was refused a certificate of release. Gaining momentum as part of the video nasty censorship, it was always a cult favorite, but the uncut version remained banned in the UK well into the 90s.
And I want you to blow your brains out. No! Blow your brains out!
Number 8, All Quiet on the Western Front.
When it comes to dying for your country, it's better not to die at all.
An Oscar-winning, critically acclaimed war film from 1930 is not what one thinks of when they think about censorship. But while it was revered and applauded in the US, the reception to this heavily anti-war film was not very warm in Europe. More notably, Adolf Hitler banned the film in Germany for most of his reign.
Well, how do they start a war? Well, one country offends another.
The few screenings they managed to sneak in were interrupted by members of the Nazi Party attacking moviegoers, releasing mice into the theater and throwing sneezing powder and stink bombs into the audience.
I think maybe the Kaiser wanted a war.
Number 7, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
What a vivid imagination.
Hollywood mega-productions are no strangers to possible censorship either, no matter how many big-shot producers are overlooking the production. The second Indiana Jones film was obviously a huge success for Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. However, it was criticized for being very dark and violent, spearheading the creation of a PG-13 rating. It also received heavy criticism for its depiction of Indian culture and Hinduism, which led to a temporary ban in India. Particularly its views of Indian cuisine led to many blaming the film for propagating negative stereotypes.
Ah, sneak surprise.
Number 6, The Evil Dead. The original Cabin in the Woods Fright Fest, indie underdog Sam Raimi had no initial expectations of wide release, and made the film as gory as possible. The low-budget splatter film about a group of friends being attacked by demonic entities began to pick up momentum, however, and ended up with an X rating and labeled a video nasty in the UK. But the rise of home video could not stop its popularity, and while still banned in some countries, it is considered one of the most respected and influential horror films of all time.
Kill her! Kill her if you can! Love her, boy!
Number 5, E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial.
I could be happy here. I could take care of you.
Spielberg is at it again, but many will be racking their brains trying to find out why this film was banned from any country. E.T. is considered by many to be one of the best family films of all time, a huge blockbuster that all children should watch, teaching them about acceptance, friendship, and fighting against the man. Well, that last little life lesson upset the censors in Norway, Finland, and Sweden so much that they decided to ban the kid-friendly sci-fi film. Their main reason? Depicting adults as enemies to a group of children. Number 4, a Serbian film. While the previous one was tricky to figure out, the reasons for banning this film are obvious to anyone who dared watch it. Pornography, brutal violence, necrophilia, pedophilia, you name it, this film has it in spades. The story of an aging porn star who agrees to work on an experimental film quickly delves into the darkest recesses of humanity, apparently as a criticism to Serbian political correctness in cinema. Banned in multiple countries including Brazil, Spain, and Australia, it also has the supposed claim of being the only film refused by Netflix. Number 3. The Wolf of Wall Street. A film about extreme corruption and debauchery, this Martin Scorsese biographical black comedy was pretty much guaranteed some backlash, thanks to a story following notorious scammer and Wall Street fraudster Jordan Belfort, but maybe not outright banning.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich!
It has achieved cult status for its excessive drug use, profanity, and sexual explicitness. The critically acclaimed film also earned its record as the film with the most F-bombs in a mainstream movie.
Was all this legal? Absolutely not.
All these reasons caused the film to be banned in Malaysia, Nepal, Zimbabwe, and Kenya, while India only allowed for a heavily edited version to be released.
I will not die sober!
Number 2. The Exorcist.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Released in the early 1970s, it is shocking how this horror movie still strikes a chord with many film fans. Its brutal depiction of demonic possession is still considered disturbing by today's standards. Therefore, it is no surprise this Oscar-winning classic movie, although rated R, was thought by Roger Ebert worthy of an X, and moviegoers were offered barf bags. Although initially available on home video in the UK, the 1984 Video Recordings Act refused its classification, banning the film and pulling all copies for over a decade. The film remained unavailable in the UK until its cinematic re-release in 1998, before coming to home video in 1999.
And I'm the devil. Now kindly undo these straps.
Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
What did you answer?
Who left the butter?
I have to hurry. I have a cab downstairs waiting.
Oh my God almighty, someone has sent me a bowel movement!
All things are good when carried to excess.
Number 1. The Interview.
Hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because we ain't us?
We all know that North Korea is not a fan of Western culture and entertainment, and they often find what many would consider ridiculous excuses to ban films. For instance, the 2009 disaster film 2012 was banned simply because of the negative connotation towards the 100th anniversary of their nation's founder's birth in the titular year. However, a comedy about assassinating their current supreme leader did not make anyone laugh. Instead, the Seth Rogen and James Franco starring Satire was called out as an act of war before even being released and sparked a whirlwind of drama. This included a supposed hack of Sony Pictures, major chains refusing to show it, and canceled premieres under the threat of war.
You know what's more destructive than a nuclear bomb? Words.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.